welcome back to the channel. So today I'm so excited because we are talking about the updated S1 lineup from LUMIX. The S1 Mark II-E, the little underdog, the S1R Mark II, and the S1 Mark II. We're going to walk through each of these cameras from my perspective as a commercial photographer who shoots mostly in studio. All right, we're going to talk about which features stand out, which ones bring the most value to my clients, and how each one of these actually hold up in real world shoots. So stick around to the end to find out which one of these cameras earn its spot as my A-cam. I first got my hands on the S1R Mark II a couple months ago before it was even announced, which was a very exciting email to receive. But what really got me excited about this camera whenever LUMIX told us all about it was that this one right here is the first LUMIX camera ever to natively tether into Capture One, which was an absolutely massive deal to me. Like, huge deal for me. Finally, I'm so excited. I'm still in disbelief that we finally have access to tethering in Capture One. So for photographers like me who shoot mostly in studio with clients on set, especially in the product and commercial space, this is huge. I can't overstate. So if you're unfamiliar, Capture One is it is the gold standard for tethered shooting, and that has instantly made the S1R Mark II just so many levels above any other LUMIX camera that I've loved and used for years. This camera is perfectly streamlined for professional workflows, I think especially in the commercial space. So the S1R Mark II comes with a 44.3 megapixel sensor, which is a huge upgrade from the S5 Mark II and the S5 Mark II-X, which I coincidentally am filming with right now. So all of those extra pixels bring a lot of value to my clients, especially when I am working on high-end beauty, commercial product shoots where the fine details are especially important. Now that kind of resolution doesn't just help me with things like clarity. It gives me more creative freedom to crop, reframe, or even adjust composition after the fact. And when you're shooting for beauty clients or product clients who might want a tighter crop for socials, different aspect ratios, having that extra detail means I don't have to reshoot. All right, now the trade-off with having a higher resolution sensor is, of course, much bigger file sizes. So there are definitely shoots and scenarios where I actually don't need all 44.3 megapixels. For things like e-com, where I take pictures of product on white, or quick fashion lookbooks where the largest output might be magazine page, you don't need that kind of resolution. In those cases, 44.3 megapixels kind of seems like overkill. Now that's not to say that the S1R Mark II isn't an incredible tool. It is, but it's important to match the tool to the task. I found that saving those giant files for jobs that really require them help make my workflow much snappier and save a lot of room on my hard drive on my computer. The S1R Mark II changed everything for me in post-production simply because it's the first camera, like I mentioned, that actually tethers directly into Capture One. So before all this, I was using LUMIX Tether, which does work. However, it only shows the raw file straight out of camera. You can't favorite anything. Clients can't go back and look. It literally will just show you the exact last file that was shot and keep on moving. And you have no flexibility to view any others. One recent shoot where the S1R Mark II really shined was a lifestyle product shoot where we were in a beautifully styled home with all of this incredible natural light. So since I was shooting mostly backlit, I had to underexpose a little bit to protect the highlights. But the magical thing about Capture One is I could lift the shadows, I could warm everything up, make it, again, that moody summer vibe, which is exactly what the client was looking for right there on set, so they knew exactly what we were getting. So being able to make those adjustments right there on set meant the client could actually see the direction right away and feel really confident in whatever we were capturing. Now, here's where things get a little interesting. Both the S1 Mark II and the S1 Mark II-E also tether into Capture One. So that actually levels the playing field a little bit and makes choosing my go-to camera just that much trickier. Moving into the S1 Mark II. There are definitely scenarios where I'd actually reach for it over the S1R Mark II. For example, if I'm shooting fast-paced, lifestyle action, like, I don't know, maybe like a campaign for an athletic brand. And I just need to capture clean burst shots of like a runner going over a hurdle, or like I'm trying to get the shoot. That's where the S1 Mark II shines, because the smaller file sizes from the smaller sensor write to the card much faster, which means less buffering, more room on your card, and way more chances to get the shot because you're not waiting for it to write to the card. Another great use case for the S1 Mark II is e-com. When I'm photographing makeup, beauty, whatever products on wide, I don't need ultra high resolution because most of those images are going to live on a web page where they're going to be about that big. The S1 Mark II gives me great image quality without eating up a whole bunch of storage space on my cards or my computer. So the S1 Mark II lets me keep things moving at a faster pace, especially when retouching doesn't need to be as intense. Okay, so one thing that really intrigues me about the S1R Mark II, especially as someone who primarily identifies as a photographer, is the absolutely insane bananas set of video features packed into this camera. I'll be honest, like I can't even keep up with them. I can. And that's the beauty of it, actually. For the price point, the video capabilities are honestly completely mind-blowing. It's the kind of camera you can grow into. You don't need to know everything about this camera on day one, but if you're a photographer who is trying to dip their toes into video, this is a really powerful place to start. While I haven't used the S1 Mark II on set with client video work yet, I have had the chance to play with it, especially during the launch event down in Austin. And honestly, it was a seamless experience. Now, I know there's been some chatter about overheating with the S1R Mark II, but personally, I haven't had any issues with it. That said, LUMIX has made it clear that the S1 Mark II was designed with even better thermal management thanks to the smaller sensor drawing less power. And I got to put that claim to the test in Austin's like muggy May heat. It was pretty brutal, and the S1 Mark II had not a single hiccup for me. Now moving into the S1 Mark IIe. This is the more budget-friendly option in the S1 Mark II lineup. What's fascinating to me about this camera is it shares the exact same sensor as the S5 Mark II and the S5 Mark IIX, but thanks to the new body design and internal updates, LUMIX managed to unlock a ton of new features that make it feel almost on par with the S1 Mark II in my opinion. The S1 Mark II does have a brand new sensor that's supposed to reduce rolling shutter, but personally that has never been an issue for me. Now I can acknowledge that it is largely because I'm a photographer and I don't typically shoot in electronic burst mode or super high frame rates. So for my workflow, it's a non-issue. So one of the smartest things about the S1 Mark IIe is that it actually shares the exact same chassis as the S1 Mark II and the S1R Mark II, which means if you're investing in more than one of these bodies, say an S1R Mark II and maybe the S1 Mark IIe, you can use the same battery grip across both. So the batteries themselves are also identical, and they are across the entire line, going all the way back at least to the G9 Mark II, but I'm sure before that, the S5 Mark II, which came out before. S5 Mark II and X5 Mark IIX, same batteries in the whole LUMIX lineup. Also, if you're rigging for video, which I don't, I don't have a need to, but if you are, and you purchase something like the small rig cage, that's going to fit across all three models. So, if you're a dedicated videographer that maybe investing in the S1 Mark II or the S1 Mark IIe is going to make a little bit more sense for you. That partially stacked sensor in the S1 Mark II, it offers improved rolling shutter performance, which can make a real difference in high motion work. But if you're just starting out, don't underestimate the S1 Mark IIe. That sensor that it shares with the S5 Mark II and the S5 Mark IIX is a total powerhouse. Like those are the only two cameras other than the S9, I use that a lot too, that I had been using up until the S1R Mark II was announced. The fact that LUMIX was able to bring that sensor into the S1 body with added upgrades makes the S1 Mark IIe a seriously compelling and budget-friendly option. I would absolutely bring the S1 Mark IIe on a page shoot, especially for something like e-com, or where the final output is like usually web or small print. And if the job is focused on like content for Instagram, social ads, or even paid campaigns that live entirely online, the S1 Mark IIe is more than capable. It also makes for a great second body if like I'm shooting with an assistant or need to film BTS at the same time as I'm shooting. Also, it would be my backup camera in case my S1R Mark II would fail on a bigger shoot because it's the only other camera I have that tethers into Capture One. And because it's so similar in layout and menus to the other S1 cameras, honestly to the whole LUMIX line, they're very good about keeping their menus concise. There's no learning curve for me. Now, there is one feature that I desperately miss across all three of these cameras, and that is MP4 Lite. MP4 Lite, if you're unfamiliar, is a 3.8K format that lets you send video directly from your camera to your phone via the LUMIX Lab app. As someone still early in their video journey, I love this feature, which allows you to skip editing software entirely, which is a huge bonus for me because I find editing softwares for video very intimidating. It's perfect for BTS content or low budget social campaigns, so I really hope Lumix brings this feature into the S1 lineup as a firmware upgrade. I use that feature constantly on the S9, especially when I'm shooting content for Instagram or sending quick reels to clients. It just has streamlined my workflow in a way that felt fun instead of overwhelming. Without having that instant gratification of color graded video right on my camera, I end up dragging my feet on editing because it's so many more steps to edit in software on a desktop. Now, this might be a little nitpicky, but I really miss having 4K 120 frames per second in SNQ mode on the S1 Mark II, like I have in the S1R Mark II. SNQ mode is like Lumix's built-in slow motion function that lets you play back footage in slow-mo directly in camera, which is perfect for instant previews and quicker content. And I don't have to slow it down in post. It's already slowed down. Now, the S1 Mark II and S1 Mark IIe still offer higher frame rates, even up to 180 or I think even 200 frames per second, but they're in HD. I really felt the difference when that 4K 120 frames per second option was missing from the SNQ workflow. Now that we've walked through each of the new cameras, it's time to name my A-cam. And maybe not surprisingly, for commercial work especially, it's going to be the S1R Mark II. If I'm primarily photographing, even doing a little light video, depending on the brief that I'm given by my client, this is the camera I want in my hands, especially if it's work that I want in my portfolio later. The 44.3 megapixels gives me so much flexibility, both in post and client delivery. I can crop in tighter, I can reframe later, and still retain incredible detail. And it also gives clients room to scale. Now, if a brand decides after the shoot that they want to use an image on like a large in-store display, I know that file will hold up. That kind of peace of mind is exactly why the S1R Mark II is the camera I rely on when it counts. So, thank you so much for hanging out with me while I broke down each of the new cameras from the S1 lineup. Now, I hope this has helped you figure out which camera might be the right fit for you. Now, I'd love to know which of these three cameras might be your A-cam. Please drop it in the comments and let's chat through it. This is future me, and I'm just popping on here to tell you that I have recorded this video no fewer than 4 times. So please enjoy the fruits of my labor, and enjoy this little montage of me trying to figure this out. Okay, we're recording. This is fun. Okay, it's been a minute. Let's not get our socks and Crocs in on this, shall we? These bangs are just pissing me off, and they're mad at me too. Okay, good. We're not gonna have hair continuity. What will we do? This is why we have, oh no. Oh, it all went to shit. A little bubble pop in it. It's like, it used to be on the Lumix camera package. Oh, whatever. Edit. I'm just trying to figure out what the hell I'm saying. This is what it looks like on the inside. I would love to know who these 2 gentlemen are. Double check on our time. 3 minutes. I'm so speedy. It's gonna be 2 files? Okay, don't get too confident, Jamie. Wow.